Hey, what's up y'all? I'm Andrew with Field Treasure Design. So if you've seen any of my other projects, you've probably seen me using my Bosch circular saw partnered up with the Craig Rip Cut to make long straight cuts on different projects that I'm doing. And in fact, I used it right here on my Polk workbench. And so the Craig is great for what it is, and the Bosch circular saw is also great, but this is really more of a construction grade tool to make cuts and offcuts and different things like that. And so when I'm making cuts, the dust is going everywhere, as well as it's not quite very accurate and it's really loud and unruly. And so I finally said enough is enough after my last project, which was making beds for my girls. I was cutting long cuts on maple, and I just said enough is enough. And so all that to say, I looked at 3 different tool brands. I looked at Festool. They have a battery and a corded version, as well as 2 different models kind of within that, the TS55 and the TS75. Then I also looked at Makita. They have a corded version and a battery version. And then I looked at Bosch. So after lots of researching and talking to friends and debating, deciding, I decided to go with the Makita cordless. This is the battery powered version, and I felt like it was the perfect blend of price and quality in one for my needs. And so I've never owned a track saw or used one for a long period of time, and so I'd love to unbox this with you and kind of show you as I go in case you're trying to decide on your own to buy a track saw for your shop. So let's do this. Unboxing was pretty straightforward as the toolbox just slid right out of the cardboard. Makita doesn't really have a name that I can find on their toolboxes, like Festool has the Sustainer and Bosch has the L-Box. When I unclipped the sides, I found that these were a little bit different and they kind of fell off, and I thought, whoa, this isn't really good. But then I realized that these are actually pretty functional. They can clip down on themselves if you're just using one box, and then they clip up if you're connecting them to another box. So it's actually a pretty cool design. But if you're not careful, you could lose a clip. Okay, first I opened the lower box, which holds the battery charger and batteries. I was really impressed right off the bat that there's foam lining on the top and bottom. I have not seen this in any other toolbox system, although I'm sure it exists. It was pretty cool. The set comes with 2 5-amp batteries, and the charger is the biggest charger I've ever seen and ever have owned. But yeah, there's the box, nice foam in the bottom and top. So yeah, there's the clips. They go up or down depending on how you need to use them. Now let's unpack the track saw. So the lid pops off and there's a little bit of cardboard inside holding it in place, and that's really it. The track saw sits down on a molded plastic. You can see it kind of fell to the front, and I was a little surprised there's nothing holding it in like side to side, but then I thought, you know, no one's really gonna be tossing this around. It's always gonna stay vertical. And there's the track saw. Easily sits in that little molded container, and yeah, that's really it. Really basic, but man, look at that saw. Pretty sweet. And yeah, my first test with it, just holding it, the grips are really nice. It obviously is very well made. There's the dust collector port that can turn, and man, there's the lever to allow it to plunge, which I think I'm probably the most excited about, this being able to plunge cut into the material. Very lightweight. I thought it would be a lot heavier than it is, and I was curious how the batteries would make it work. And speaking of batteries, let's check those out. Like I said earlier, the charger is pretty massive. It's huge. So plugged it right in, and it has the flashing green lights that says, hey, I'm ready to charge. And each battery, although they're very large, they're those 5 amp hour batteries, they are not too heavy. The power indicator was right there on the front with the red line. Obviously, they didn't come very charged, and so clicking them in was not hard at all. And instantly, this charger is going to start making a fan noise. And what I thought was so impressive is not only how fast it charges the batteries, but also it stays very cool. And there we go. They are charging, and you can hear that fan going. And also, here's what's cool. There's a USB port that you can plug in your smartphone or something else to charge alongside the batteries. Meanwhile, I grabbed the manual just to check out a few specs. And yeah, I confirmed that these batteries on this charger only take 45 minutes to charge. That is pretty darn impressive. And both batteries charge at the same time, which I really like. While the batteries are charging, I transitioned my time to opening my tracks. Obviously, the tracks play a huge part in cutting with a track saw. After agonizing over which tracks to buy in terms of length and all of that, I decided on 2 55-inch tracks and one 39-inch track. What's great about this is that they can move around and be transported really easily, and then they can be linked together and attached to make long cuts. And so this is going to be very important and something that I really didn't know before I purchased it, and I'm really glad I did this. Also, something cool to note is that the Makita tracks also work with Festool track saws. So if you ever upgrade your track saw, you don't have to get rid of your tracks. You can continue using them. So each track comes in a box, just like you see here, and it's pretty straightforward unpacking them. As you can see, Makita did a really good job, box in box, and everything was real smooth and nice, and nothing was dented, which is key for these tracks. So there it is. So next I'm unboxing the second one, and what's important when you first use your tracks is to break them in. What that means is you want to have a project where you cut that little rubber edge for the very first time nice and clean. I'll show you that here in just a second. The batteries are charged and we are good to go. And man, I can't emphasize enough that these batteries are not overheating. This Makita charger is really efficient and stays cool, which is awesome. I really thought the saw was going to be heavy with two 5Ah batteries on it, but man, you slide one in the bottom there, then you slide the other one on the top. And something cool to note is that there's a battery charge indicator in the middle there, so you don't have to check the individual batteries. But man, it is not heavy at all. It is very comfortable, it's very easy to maneuver, and I am so excited I went with cordless. Before we make any cuts, I wanted to demonstrate and experiment with the plunge cutting. Check this out. As a circular saw user for many years, this is gotta be my favorite feature. Look at that. So easy to do. There's also a wide variety of depth adjustments to help you make the right depth in cuts. And I'm gonna fire it up now. It's very easy to activate and deactivate the blade movement, which is also a huge feature. Yep, I'm in love. Now it's time to test this out. So here I am laying the track. This is a 55-inch track on one side of a table that I need to make a nice, clean, straight cut on. So this is the perfect starting project. And you can see that little rubber on the end there. It needs to be cut so that it will be flush with the line that is cut from here on out. I used a larger framing square to make sure that my track was square on the edge. And then I'm using these awesome clamps from Micro Jig that are dovetail clamps that will slide into those channels. And that is how that the track engages with the workpiece to be clamped down. So genius. So once you do that on both sides, your track is nice and secure for your track saw to then run across at a straight line. Okay, now it's game time. So the track saw sits right on that track. There's that channel. It's going to stay nice and straight. There's a few calibration points along the track that you can look at the manual to make sure it's perfect. But yeah, otherwise it just sits right there on the track. The hose can be moved kind of out of the way. And man, this is getting exciting. I fired up my dust collector and it is time to make the first cut. I wanted to change the camera angle to show you exactly how the plunge mechanism works and how clean it is. Unfortunately, my camera would not autofocus until kind of towards the end of the shot here, but you can kind of get an idea. There's the rubber that's been cut now for the very first time to make that initial scoring line against it. Now we're in focus and you can see it. And here we go down the side, and that little piece of rubber is being cut. This is really key for that first cut. Now, the rubber is not going to be cut all the way to the end, and I'm going to show you how I do that here in a little bit. So clean. I mean, barely any dust. That is unbelievable. It's straight, it's clean, it's awesome. So now I took it to the other side to do the exact same thing on the other side of the table. And here you can get another idea of how great it is. I'm using the exact same track that I already used. As you can see, that rubber line is hanging down. So I've already cut down the middle of the track saw rubber. And what's left is going to be how to trim those edges. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Cool. Now we've seen how using the 55-inch track is awesome for table edges like this and making straight, nice cuts that are this long. So now I've got a longer line that I need to cut. This is the side of the table, or the length, that requires now both of those 55-inch tracks to be joined together to make one long track. So these are the two tracks that I'm going to join together to be able to run along that long length. The Makita track connectors come in a nice tube, and there are two metal parts and then a few little set screws that are operated by the Allen wrench that's included. The bar with the holes lays on top of the bar without the holes because the set screws are going to screw down and press those bars apart, which is going to hold the tracks together. I recommend going ahead and putting each set screw in just a few turns just so they're ready to go. So then you slide the set into one track, and once it's in and secure, you then can slide it into the next one. I used my Allen wrench to reach into that channel in order to push the track connector into the center. Once it's in the center and the track is together, you then tighten those set screws just about as strong as you can get them. Not over tight, but nice and snug. So then you flip the track over and it's nice and straight. Now, something I noticed, if you can see by my thumb there, is there's a bulge where that blue strip is kind of hanging over on each side, and that needs to be cut away. I guess in the manufacturing, that didn't quite get cut smoothly. And so I took them apart and I took a razor blade just to shave off the overhang so that there wouldn't be a bulge. After I was done, I did a quick test pass, and yeah, nice and smooth along that transition. Perfect. I'm really glad I went with two 55 inches rather than one long one because it really is easier to move around. Okay, real quick, I want to explain the rubber cutting thing. So I've already cut the rubber in the middle of the track, but I haven't cut the outer edges because they could get a little wobbly and you don't want to mess that up. So what I did was when I attached the two tracks together, I'm going to cut this middle part and allow that line to go nice and straight. Then I'm going to stop short at the end here and reattach and do the process again so it's a nice straight line in the middle. So now I'm just clamping the exact same way I did before, it's just a little bit longer. So I'm a goofball and forgot to record when I made this cut, so I went back and did it again, obviously kicking up some dust since I'd already made the cut, but it's all good. So as you can see, as I passed through the middle though, I made that cut of the rubber nice and straight on both ends. And then you can see the rubber hanging down there on the end, and I'm going to now reattach that end to the middle of the next one so that those ends connect. Here you can see now that that track is now on the inside portion of the connection. So that way when I run down that middle section, it's going to cut those two ends that are now on the inside. It's a little tricky, but this is a great way to cut the entire length of your track rubber so that they're all straight. So now I'm making that pass through the middle, and you can see the rubber getting cut, and it's nice and straight on both sides. By the way, it looks like I'm cutting my Polk workbench, but I'm actually not. I grabbed a piece of 1/2 inch plywood that's clamped down to the work surface there that I'm actually cutting. Awesome. Well, there's my video. I hope you enjoyed it and it helped you evaluate to make your own decision that worked for you. But I got to say, I am so glad that I finally bought a track saw, and I think I got the right one for my needs. Anyways, I hope you liked it. Please throw me a like, maybe a comment if you have other questions, and don't forget to subscribe to check out all my other videos. Thanks, and we'll see you later.